All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are here for the first night of the playoffs. I am super excited to be back in the booth here for Season 7 playoffs. I am joined by the one and only Jeff Masters. Jeff, how are you doing on this fine night?
Hey, I am doing amazing, Rockerman. Thank you for that introduction. Honestly, debut of playoffs for Season 7 for Nemesis with Vipers and Blackhawks coming up. Honestly, can't wait to get into it. These teams, I'm interested to see how they're going to play today, but I feel like it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, it definitely should be an interesting matchup. We just finished the play-in tournament. I mean, it was an insane play-in run. More than half the games went the distance to Game 5. So, I mean, that was insane. And now we're heading to the playoffs where who knows what's going to happen. We have best of sevens coming your way now. So things ramping up just a little bit. Before we get into the action tonight, we got two matches. Why don't we take a quick look at the playoff bracket for the Prospect League? Both matches tonight coming in the Prospect League. So if we can take a look at that on the screen here, we will see our first match that we will be talking about tonight. We have Blackhawks taking on Vipers, the 3 versus 6 seed. And then coming up after this matchup, we have Gladiators taking on the Warhawks there, the 4 versus 5 matchup. Jeff, what do you make of this Prospect playoff bracket as it stands?
I mean, honestly, I wish I knew a little bit more about like everything, but it's interesting to see the bracket, how it's laid out with how close the teams are, even as we're getting into playoffs. But I don't know. It's like I said, I wish I knew a little bit more about these teams, but it's definitely set to be a high energy night, and even following to come with matchups.
Yeah, I kind of put you on the spot a little there. Sorry, Jeff. I know you're more focused on the novice league, so my apologies. But it should be an exciting bracket there with these guys. I know a lot of teams. We saw Velocity clutch up in the play-in tournament in Game 5. The Minotaurs won in a Game 5. So a lot of setup there for 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, and then yeah, we're looking at 3 versus 6 matchup though tonight. So I do know you know a little bit more about this matchup, Jeff. As we transition back here, what can you tell us about the Blackhawks taking on the Vipers here tonight?
So with Blackhawks and Vipers, I know Vipers, they're coming into this matchup a little bit on a slump. They've had a 3-game loss prior to making the playoffs. They've clinched the playoffs, obviously, but they're looking a little awkward. But history has shown that Vipers have sort of had the upper hand against Blackhawks in the past. They're sitting 5-3 overall against them in the previous seasons. And also Vipers in Season 7, they did beat Blackhawks 3-1 earlier on. And Vipers have also had a stronger playoff appearance in various seasons. They've made, I think, 4 overall. This is their 4th. So, I mean, honestly, looking at it, Blackhawks are technically higher up in the seeding, and Blackhawks have had they're doing really well for themselves right now. I know even all of chat seems to be rooting for Blackhawks out on the field, but I don't know. I think with this matchup, it's probably going to be close. But honestly, I'm going to go with Vipers on this one to see it out to the end.
We'll have to see if that is the case. Yeah, the predictions coming in. I mean, there is a lot of channel points out. There's 224,000, no, 231,000 now on the Blackhawks, compared to 16,000 for the Vipers. So there are some big returns to be had in the chat there. And yeah, the Discord community and the odds makers are rocking with the Blackhawks as well. So going against you a little bit, Jeff, they've got the Blackhawks here at taking this one, so we'll have to find out. It should be exciting. I want a couple quick shout outs before we get this match going. Shout out to Crippus gifting 2 subs out there, and also shout out to Cool Kyle for resubscribing for 2 months. But yeah, I think we've got everyone in the lobby. So Jeff, I know you're predicting the Vipers. Do you have a game prediction for us? Are we going to go the distance? You didn't go the distance in the first match of the playoffs?
I mean, shoot, if play-ins is anything to go off of, I know these weren't related to play-ins, but I mean, this might go all the way to 7. I can see it being close. I think it might go to 7. So I'm going to call it. It goes to Game 7, but Vipers end up taking it. So 4-3 Vipers.
All right, 4-3 Vipers. That is what Jeff's going for, and we'll have to find out. The playoffs for Season 7 are officially getting underway here as we have Vipers and we have Blackhawks here. The Vipers in the green here with Puggles, Dissensions, and Lore. And oh my goodness, the kickoff goal 2 seconds in. That's about as quick as you can do it, Jeff.
Yeah, honestly, 2 seconds in, Sanitario just beats out Dissensions and just takes an unfortunate bounce that just rolls right into the goal of Vipers. Nothing you can really do in there, and with 2 seconds in, pretty strong start from Blackhawks.
Yeah, That is that is one way to kick off your playoff hopes. As yeah, we didn't even get to really talk about this roster, but we've got Sanitario, Eternal, and Alpha. So no Sageburner here, who I thought might be playing, but I think Blackhawks have swapped their roster around a little bit. And then on the other side, we have Lore, who's L there, and Dissensions and Puggles. And Jeff, I've seen the Vipers play a couple times, and it was a lot about Puggles here that has been stepping up. And if there's a guy for me to watch on the Vipers, I would say Puggles. I don't know if you agree with that, and then I'm curious if you have one to watch maybe on the Blackhawks side.
Honestly, I would agree with you. I've seen Puggles play in a couple of matchups, and Puggles does seem to be a really key factor for his team. On the other side, though, with Blackhawks, honestly, I'm saying you need to look out for Sanitario. I see, like, even already as the game is kind of early on, he's kind of putting up. He's already got 200 points on the board, and so I feel like Sanitario is going to be someone that Vipers are going to have to watch out for as as they move forward. But we'll see what happens as time plays out.
We'll have to see. Both these teams got some solid players. They made this run all the way. The Blackhawks coming in at the 3 seed here into this playoff race. They won the Central Division in the Prospect League. And then meanwhile, the Vipers coming into 6 seed, couldn't quite take their division from the Bandits. Kind of like Jeff mentioned earlier, faltered at the end of the season, losing the last couple matches, but looking to regain here. As this one shot towards the net, Lower is going to make a quick save on the goal line. This ball sent down Eternal. Hop this one back up towards the middle. Sanitario trying to get up to it, but a challenge in the midfield. It's going to be denied away. Puggles now to the sidewall. Puggles looking for it, but can't find the touch here. As a little bit of a team bump in the Blackhawks net for the Vipers there. A little bit of panic there, Jeff, as we're 2 minutes in. The Vipers desperately trying to get one here, but the Blackhawks are going to slot it in. Sanitario puts it out.
Yeah, honestly, Vipers looking a little bit sketchy out on the field in first game. That double commit kind of, I don't know what they were doing towards the Blackhawks side of the field, but Sanitario, goal number 2, easy slot towards the left-hand side. This 2-0 with just under 3 minutes left to go in this game number 1, Rockerman.
And that's a huge start for the Blackhawks. You always want to start out strong, and something to note here, as the Vipers actually going to put this one here, is Puggles, a great goal to bring them back within 1.
Looking at that was a beautiful play. Like the pop over the middle and then Dissensions absolutely cleared Eternal to the other side of the map. Just opened the net up perfectly. Good team play. Honestly, I want to see more type of gameplay like that from Vipers moving forward.
Yeah, maybe now that they've gotten things going, I was gonna mention both these teams have yet to play a match yet. I know a couple of teams got their way in the play-in tournament. So, Jeff, this is really a lot of these guys' first action in the postseason. A lot of pressure on the line. I'm sure a lot of nerves knowing that, hey, this is do or die. We got best of 7s here. You win or you go home.
Yeah, indeed. That is the case, although it's like you mentioned, I feel like the pressure is not as great when it's a best of 7 as opposed to a best of 3 or a best of 5, so you kind of have a little bit of leeway here, but obviously no team wants to kind of give that up early on. You kind of want that game 1 momentum moving forward so can kind of feel a little bit better about it, but honestly, Vipers still not out of this, only 1 goal separating the two of them, and it seems that Vipers are kind of awakening up a little bit on their side of the field and even kind of opening up some possibilities a little bit more. So we'll see as time plays out just what happens. But it's looking like a pretty solid matchup right now as things stand.
Yeah, despite the 1 kickoff goal that we saw 2 seconds in, this match could all be tied. But it is not the case. The Blackhawks playing with the advantage here in game number 1. This is best of 7, the opening match of the playoffs for Nemesis Season 7, as Alpha is taking this one up high. Lower. It's going to block it off to the side. This ball popping up. Puggles able to send it down into the Blackhawks corner. With Sanitario back just in time. This ball popped up again. But going to be blocked off. So back pass attempt comes out, and now the Vipers got to be careful here. Looking for something. Eternal's trying to dive in, but it's not going to go. Dissensions looking for a touch, able to block it away. The Vipers desperately looking for a tie here. But the Blackhawks have been holding on, and it seems like, Jeff, we had a couple early goals, and now things are just kind of dying down. Sanitario is going to find a huge dunk. Just read him like a book for the hat trick.
I mean, Sanitario has just been so amazing for his team right now. Puggles just kind of a little bit awkward there, wasn't able to make the touch that he wanted to, and Sanitario with just a mean dunk over the top, scoring goal number 3. Vipers got to try to do something now They had some looks earlier on. I saw what the back pass attempt that they were trying to do earlier on, but it just wasn't on target. And then it forced Lore kind of over to the corner, and then they found themselves like pinned on their own side where they kind of had pressure. They need to just clean up a little bit of their act. Because if not, it's not looking too good for them to try to come back. I mean, honestly, it's a lot to ask for 2 goals in 40 seconds. It's not impossible, but. I'm hoping Vipers kind of tidy things up a little bit because I feel like they have more to give out on the field, and it's just not quite fully gelling as a team yet.
Yeah, not quite. In the final seconds of game 1 are ticking down here. Puggles looking to make one more happen, but it's sent back into the zone, and the time really ticking away, but they're able to get it by 2. Eternal has to make the touch. And they do. And this one's sent in. Can the Vipers find one more miracle goal here in the final seconds? A bump attempt coming from Lore, but it's not going to go. And with this ball in the corner, can they put it in with time remaining? Not going to happen here. And the Blackhawks going to come out strong here in game 1, Jeff. They are your victors, starting off strong.
Hey, you know, Blackhawks, they showed up with that early kickoff and honestly getting some good pressure on Viper's side of the field. Sanitario, big part of that. I mean, 587 points, him alone on the team. 3 goals, a save, and 4 shots. Like, the man was just doing everything for his team. So Vipers, I don't know. I feel like going into game number 2, just need to kind of... The rotation, I'd say the placement of some of their players a little bit off. Even there towards the end, I guess I could kind of get it. The game was sort of over, but there was a pass to mid and nobody was there from Vipers, even, you know, just kind of try to score even towards the end to just kind of get your morale back up. I don't know. I feel like the positioning of Vipers needs to change a little bit going into game number 2, but by no means would I say that they're out of it. Just Blackhawks, with the help of Sanitario, played really well in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Sanitario, you talked about him as the guy to watch out for, and I mean, with a hat trick putting on for his team, just a huge performance to start things off. And we'll have to see. Puggles was the one to pop a goal in for the Vipers, but now heading into game 2, we're going to have to see. It's going to be, can Sanitario keep that up? Will Puggles maybe pop off? Can we see something from Lore? I know Lore has been around Nemesis for a couple seasons now, in and out here in the Victory org. And I know that if there's someone, you know, maybe besides Puggles to watch for on this Vipers team, you know, I would definitely be watching out for Lore. And game number 2 is going to be a crucial one here, as this one a shot on net early to start things off for the Blackhawks.
Yep, already some pressure falling, but even a demo attempt too from Blackhawks, but they ended up holding out there. Forced a little bit awkward earlier on, but looks like Lore's trying to bring this one around for a pass. But good recovery on them, not letting that attempt and even strong physical attack from Blackhawks kind of throw them off, and still able to keep it at a 0-0 score.
And looking to counter. Here's Lore popping this one up, going to find a 50. Ball floating. Here comes Puggles with 2 Blackhawks defenders. Are able to get in the way as Eternal. Able to send it down. Lore going to get it around 1, trying to get it past 2. He does. Is there a follow Alpha in the corner? Looking for this one. This ball sent up for the Vipers. Puggles trying to find the read, but not quite able to. And again, this game staying a little bit slow here the first minute in. Nobody on the board yet. It's the Blackhawks leading this series 1-0. Their last victory here is Puggles trying to keep it in. But a 50 comes across. It's the Blackhawks looking to counter. But Dissensions actually pops one out in the midfield. Here comes a shot attempt. But it's going to be denied away. This ball floating yet again. Sanitario off to the sidewall. Dissensions banging down. Here comes Lore. Looking for the redirect. And Lore is going to put it in. What a play for the Vipers.
I was seeing that playing out, but I was like, is he going to be able to get it? That was a strong pass from Dissensions. And then just an absolutely beautiful, picture-perfect redirect by Lore. Solid team play from Vipers. Kind of upsetting first game and taking the first score away from Blackhawks. Definitely looking good in game number 2.
Yeah, that is a great way to start it out here for the Vipers as they try to bounce back in this series. It's a longer series, longer than any of these teams have played all season. And it's going to be a battle of determination here, a battle of endurance as this series continues on. But the Vipers happy to get this one on the board. Here comes Sanitario looking for one. Puggles with a great save. And Dissensions going to help him off the backboard as they clear this one out. Dissensions now looking for a 50 Alpha. Going to block it up high. Lore on the touch. Able to keep it up. Here comes Dissensions looking for the redirect. Gonna find a shot on net. The Vipers That's the second one there, Jeff. They tried it. Oh my goodness, a crowd punch from Dissensions. What is going on? These Vipers are turning mechanical all of a sudden.
Hey, all of a sudden the redirect game is working, and then Sanitario uncharacteristically just kind of misread that one from the corner. And even with 2 defenders back, Dissension says, that goal is mine. I'm taking this goal number 2.
I mean, wow, that was an insane pinch. I think that was almost 80 miles an hour, if I saw that correctly on my screen. But I mean, Dissension's looking to perform here as the Vipers are really trying to get back in this one with a game win. As they lead 2-0 here in game number 2. Lore trying to get out in the midfield, leaving it for a teammate. Puggles high off the backboard. Dissensions is up. Oh my goodness, a huge bump for Dissensions. Not quite on target. That one could be a huge mistake there, but Vipers still holding on to their 2-goal lead. And Sanitario pop this one up back towards net. Dissensions going to find a touch out to the side. Lore on this one. Gonna pop it out past one, looking to take it all the way is Lore towards the net, but the Blackhawks just in time, able to make that save away. And we've got about 2 minutes remaining here, Jeff. A little bit different than what we saw in game 1 is now the Blackhawks find themselves down as, oh my goodness, here comes a dribble towards the net. Eternal, able to put it in, and the Blackhawks are back within 1.
I was just going to say Vipers were doing a good job of kind of stuffing Blackhawks offense, and then all of a sudden Eternal comes in with a nasty little dribble, getting it past the defender and scoring the first goal for Blackhawks. So I think Blackhawks are trying to say, you know, we're not out of this yet. We still got 2 minutes, and we won game 1. So, you know, just got to remind you guys, you're not secure even with 2 goals.
Yeah, that was just a huge bump play from Alpha as Alpha took out the last defender there from the Vipers. And just a great play by them to get back in this one. Alpha, formerly in Challenger last season, dropped down with the rising boundaries, so wasn't quite able to stay up in Challenger, but Alpha has been feeling strong in this Blackhawks squad for the entire of this season. As now Blackhawks looking to find an answer. So we're down to a minute 30 remaining in game number 2. Here comes Laura looking for the touch off the backboard. Laura, can they find a double? Oh my goodness, Alpha with the save on the goal line. I thought for sure that was going to be in. These prospects, Jeff, are showing out with these mechanics.
And honestly, Vipers turning up the super mechanical plays. Seems like sometimes on the simpler stuff, not quite nailing it, but definitely getting shots on net and testing Blackhawks' ability to get some saves out there. Because Vipers right now, I mean, actually it's pretty even, 4-4 on the shots of both teams. But it's just good to see. It's approaching, well, actually just underneath 1 minute now, and Blackhawks still need to find a goal. But so far, Vipers have not let up and let another goal in the back of their net.
But can they hold on? The Blackhawks have answered a couple times as this one in the midfield. Puggles on his dribble. 2 defenders are going to dive at that one. Lore trying to race to it. Going to actually be able to stay with it. Lore on the flip reset, send it towards the net. It's awkward off the backboard. They can't touch. Alpha can't find it, and Dissensions is going to put it in for the Vipers, and they are back to a 2-goal lead.
So much chaos right there. Like the flip reset, you get the whiff from Puggles, and then Alpha and Eternal both just like, oh shoot, we got to try and get it, and just weren't able to. That honestly might be the security goal right there for Vipers to take the second game.
Yeah, that one huge for them, as now they got that 2-goal cushion as we're down to the final 20 seconds of game number 2. Alpha taking this one up, seeing if they could find some sort of answer, but Lore, great backboard defense. Sanitario trying to keep it in, but not quite able to as this ball floats up. The Vipers just happy to play it in their corner, waste the time away. Blackhawks looking for one more, but it's going to die down as this ball popped up. Looking for one. Dissensions just going to hit it off their backboard. And as that one touches the ground, the Vipers are going to come back and win game number 2. A great answer to tie this series up.
Yeah, much stronger showing from Vipers in game number 2. And Blackhawks still played a good game. Vipers, they had a strong defense. Blackhawks had a strong defense. But just in the end, Vipers kind of outshot them a little bit more. And there was a couple more awkward moments on Blackhawks' side of the field. But I love what I'm seeing. Honestly, I was expecting Vipers to play a little bit more physical because that was sort of working briefly in game number 1, but they decided to go full mechanical and started showing off some clips on Blackhawks. But with that energy going into game number 3, this might be really interesting. A really interesting game number 3 matchup.
Yeah, I think it will be. As you know, normally this would be, Jeff, in our best of 5 series. This game number 3 would be that pivotal game, where if you win this game, you're on match point. But obviously, it's not the case in best of seven. So I'm curious to see how these teams are going to adapt, knowing that hey, this is a game that gives us a 2-1 lead, but it's not necessarily the pivotal point. But it honestly could be. It could still be with the way the series has gone.
Right. You never know. You never know how it's going to play out, but we'll see as we get into game number 3.
And we're heading to game number 3 on Beckwith Park. And we're going to have to see, will the Blackhawks be able to answer back, or are the Vipers carrying some momentum as a redirect towards the net? Sanitario almost able to find that read as Alpha sent it towards the net. The Vipers panicking a little bit here early. The Blackhawks put on some good pressure. Dissensions can't connect, and this ball dangerous, but it's not going to go in. Another follow-up shot from Alpha is going to be saved away. The Vipers somehow survive, and they have a counterattack attempt here. Puggles just in front of this one, trying to muscle his way through, as here comes another shot, but it's not going to go. I thought, Jeff, for sure, in the first 30 seconds there, I thought the Vipers were getting scored on, but somehow, some way, they survived.
Yeah, honestly, really, really awkward on their defense right there. A couple of attempts where both of them jumped up. They managed to get a little bit of a counter-strike going, but it was so funny seeing Puggles. I don't think he had any boost, just kind of playing that so slow towards the other end. But hey, they managed to keep the ball out of the net, which is good. Hopefully they can kind of recover here. But that little whiff from Puggles, good shot from Dissensions getting in front of Eternal. Close calls from Vipers, but they've held strong so far.
And they have the defense looking a lot better than it did in game 1, at least the beginning there. And sans the kickoff goal, they have been very solid so far in the series. As now Lower looking for a 50, Sanitario able to cut it off, keeping it on the sidewall. This ball pops up towards the backboard. Dissension's going to find a touch. They're by 2 right now. It's a 3-on-1 opportunity, but Eternal just able to get a touch. Dissension sending it in. Lower going to get bumped out of the way as this ball pops up. A demo comes through. Huge. As that ball going to be 50 to the side. And again, another scoreless game early. And Jeff, it seems like these teams just kind of playing for the 1-goal advantage, as it's just a lot slower, a little bit more methodical.
Yeah, it's definitely more pick and choose type of play. It's not overly challenging. I mean, like, they're not kind of rushing to these challenges and stuff. They're just trying to find the right opportunity to score, try to get a counter-strike opportunity. But yeah, it's pretty relaxed game right now. There has been a lot. I'm honestly surprised though that there's no score on the board. As close as Blackhawks have kind of come from scoring, they've had a couple of looks where I feel like they should have scored, but so far it's a scoreless game halfway through, just about. And even with these slow plays, it's interesting how this third game is completely like bipolar from the previous two matchups that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, last game it seemed like there was so much mechanics coming out, especially from the Vipers, and this one it seems like the Blackhawks have had maybe a majority of the control. As now they're going to send this one out, looking to keep that control, but the Vipers coming in on this one. Here comes Lower Alpha. Gonna find a touch as he's giving chase down the pitch. This ball popping up. Sanitario thought about it. Doesn't really have the boost to go for it. But gonna get it by 1. Eternal looking for the shot, but just a little bit wide. Alpha gonna get it by 1. An opportunity. Sanitario looking for the near post shot, but Puggles on the goal line making a clutch save yet again. He has been magnificent on the defensive end. 2 saves for him. The Vipers defense still holding strong as we're nearing the 1.5-minute mark remaining in game number 3, and it's just been a defensive showing. It seems like every shot from both of these sides, Jeff, has been saved away. Just no one able to break through. But wait a minute, here comes Dissensions looking for the shot, and Moore is gonna put it in. The Vipers strike first in game 3.
Yeah, I think Dissensions, he kind of wanted a shot back there. He had a pass earlier on, he just kind of whiffed, but gets a perfect pass to Lore here, past the defense of Blackhawks. After 3.5 minutes of silence, finally, Vipers strike and get the upper hand. Now the question is, are they going to be able to keep it? But honestly, with how this game is kind of played out, being kind of slow paced, Blackhawks need to turn up the heat now. They need to try to bring some speed, because a minute and a half with how it's been playing out before seems like an eternity. I mean, not that much time at all to try to score back.
Yeah, really, the time is a huge factor, and you're exactly right with how slow this game has been played. They're going to need something quick as they try to get one there. The demo attempt almost works out. It's off the post again, but the Vipers defense again holding on strong as the Blackhawks are threatening shots. Another one in the midfield. Lore has to make the touch. Sanitario almost dunks it through somehow as the Blackhawks are doing exactly what you asked. They're turning up the heat, but now they got to race back, and they find a demo. So we're down to 45 seconds remaining in game 3. The Vipers hold on to a 1-goal lead. Dissension's looking for the touch, but here comes a shot. Sanitario is able to connect. The last defender is jumping. Eternal able to get it out. Can they score on this Alpha? Looking for the shot, but Dissension's able to be back in time as we're down to the final 30 seconds of game number 3. This ball to the midfield. Lower looking to add one more to the tally. Going to get it by 1, but Sanitario able to make the save. The Blackhawks need to get something going here as this one's sent down towards the Vipers' net. Lore gonna get a touch just in time, and maybe one more chance remaining for the Blackhawks, but Lore trying to shut it down right there. This ball pops up. Puggles send it towards her net. Sanitario barely able to make the save, and now the Blackhawks are gonna have to go the length of the pitch here. Sanitario keeping it up. This ball into their corner. Can they keep it going? The Vipers trying to kill it. But Alpha on the dribble, gonna flick it by 1. Can he get to it? Sanitario sending it down, but that one is gonna touch the ground. And the Vipers, another game here where they seemingly just held on, Jeff, and they are gonna win this one a shutout, a low-scoring affair, a 1-0 win, but they have the 2-1 series lead.
I mean, honestly, you look at how this played out, like how close both of these teams were. They had the same amount of shots. Blackhawks had obviously a little bit more saves, but it was so close. It was so neck and neck. It was so methodical during the first couple minutes of that game. And then as you get into the late end, Vipers score, and then it's like Blackhawks heard the call that they needed to speed up, and they picked it up. They were bringing pressure, they were bringing shots, and yet still, Vipers did not allow them to score. Honestly, hats off to Vipers, because that was a lot of pressure that they were under, and still to hold that out and be looking, and now to take the advantage away from Blackhawks, that's a good look going into game 4.
Yeah, it definitely is, as the Vipers looking to put themselves up 3-1, and this hasn't been something we've really talked about in the regular season because it's not a thing in the regular season or even in the play-in tournaments, and I don't think they should have used it last time, but Jeff, each team does have a tactical timeout that they can use in this series, so a minute break in between games, they can call a tactical timeout. And we'll have to see. Hopefully, for the Blackhawks' sake, they aren't going to need it. But if this thing does go the Vipers' way, they may be looking at it. It's just something I want to put on people's radars here as we're into Game 4.
Yeah, sometimes a little break can be beneficial. Kind of step back. I know sometimes certain tempers or mentalities can get shaken, especially honestly from Blackhawks coming in that game. And I honestly, if I was them, I would be upset that we didn't get a shot into the goal because it was so close and they had all the pressure. They were doing the right things. They weren't necessarily making mistakes, and just Vipers didn't allow them into the net. So, sometimes I guess a tactical timeout might be what they need, but Lore is going to keep the momentum rolling for Vipers and scores a goal.
Yeah, really just going hard. As I think a demo on the backside of there as Lore puts that one in. I think it was Dissensions demoing the back rotation, and Lore able to put it in the net, and they are on a move right now. The Vipers, I don't even know last time that they even scored in this one. So it looks like saying game crash, but not calling for a restart here. They're just saying that his game crashed, as looks like the Vipers are trying to put it in. So a little bit odd there, as it looks like Alpha is out for the moment. But yeah, it's been a while, Jeff, since we've seen the Blackhawks be able to put one in the back of the net.
Yeah, honestly, and I'm surprised. It's surprising to see them drop a player and then not try to do anything about kind of resetting. But I guess they feel confident enough that they can still get a goal. They get some pressure, but nothing falls. But they still managed to keep the ball. Actually, really good clear from Dissensions here. But they're going to play it out, and we'll see what happens as it goes forward. It might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and a reminder for teams, I know this has happened a couple of times. It seems like a lot of teams just prefer to just play it out, but if you do have a player that disconnects in a game, you got to call for the restart immediately. It's on you to call for it, but these guys, they did not call for it, as Lore is going to put it in the back of the net. And 2-0 now for the Vipers. Maybe coming back to bite him a little bit here.
Yeah, perhaps maybe feeling a little bit too confident in what they could do as a duo. Vipers have been turning it up lately. Pass some Dissensions over, and Lore putting in another goal for his team. Their Vipers are looking really strong right now. I'm just questioning sometimes the mentality behind what Blackhawks do, but we'll see. They might be able to turn it back around. They still got plenty of time left on the clock. Just about a half of a game left. And Eternal with a look, see if he can get it towards the backboard.
Oh, trying to look
Close
for
call.
that double. Yeah, close one there. And as we're past halfway point, you have to wonder. And I try to stress this to all my players. I know when I'm talking to them as a GM at the beginning of the season, especially the captains, is to know the rules. If you have a player disconnect, I'm telling my team if you're not feeling confident to win this game, call for the restart and call for it immediately. Otherwise, you can put yourselves in a bad spot, and especially here in the playoffs. This is not one where you want to be down a player at any point. And now a huge win
Ooh.
for Ontario, just trying to get a little too greedy. Dissension's put in, and it is pouring on for the Vipers here.
Yeah, really surprising to see that whip from Sanitario. He's calling for lag is the reason why he missed that, but hey, I don't know what actually happened. It's a 3-0 lead for Vipers, and like you were saying earlier, Rockerman, this is playoffs. This isn't like some regular season game that you can afford to lose. This is, hey, if we lose, but actually they got to look at the net just as I'm talking about them, but unfortunately it doesn't go in. But this is an important game. Like they need to win this, and otherwise they're sitting in match point, and they got to try to win out. So it's just, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Kudos to them if they feel like they've got that confidence to, to do that. But right now it's not looking like it's panning out in their favor.
Yeah, not sure. And now is the time ticking away. They're going to have to survive. And, well, they're probably, I would expect here, going to call a timeout after this game as Alpha is finally back in the match. But with a minute remaining, it may be too little too late here for the Blackhawks in this game number 4. As Vipers sending one towards it, Alpha coming back and making a huge save. Eternal looking for the redirect, sending up in the midfield. Alpha trying to get to it, but only a minute remaining. They need to find 3 goals here, Jeff. It's going to be a very uphill battle.
Yes, it is an uphill battle, but I did like that when Alpha came back, they started picking up their speed. Blackhawks were getting some looks. Nothing quite fell, but even right here, pass to Alpha, right-hand side, just barely wide, and Alpha wants a redo at that shot. It's a lot to ask for to try to get it in 30 seconds, but I mean, it would have looked good for the Blackhawks to get that score, but good on them for putting some pressure on Viper's side of the field.
Yeah, they finally got some pressure, but again, this game might be a little bit out of their reach here as we're down to the final seconds of game number 4, and the Vipers happy to take this victory here despite the circumstances. They'll be putting themselves one win away from advancing in the playoffs. The first team looking to make their way to the semifinals. This ball going to bounce up one more time here in game 4. The Vipers just going to let this one touch the ground, and this one hits the ground. The Vipers now, Jeff, are up 3-1, and I would be a very surprised man if the tactical timeout does not come through.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you need to take it. This is now it's crunch time. If it wasn't crunch time before, now it is. You guys had a strong showing against Vipers when you first started out, but then Vipers, they've gone on a hot streak and they're looking really good right now. Definitely need to take some time. Obviously the game crash, not a mechanical thing. You see Sanitario right there. He's calling for the timeout. So they are indeed going to take it, which is good. They need to talk it over, try and figure some stuff out, and try and work on just how to adapt to how Vipers have really just kind of come alive in these last couple games.
Yeah, they really have, Jeff, and it has been over 10 minutes of in-game time since the Blackhawks have last scored. I mean, it's just been a complete turnaround from that first game, and it's surprising to see. Obviously, the circumstances a little bit tough in this last game, but I mean, still, that's 10 minutes at least, and I don't even remember when they last scored in game number 2, but at least 10 minutes where they just didn't even score once. So now they've got to find something here heading into game 5. I mean, their season is on the line. It's do or die time for them.
Yeah, it's definitely where you've got to dig down, find out what your team's made out of, and try and bring this back. Try and almost reverse sweep. It's what it's almost come to. It's just they've got to win out. So it's not impossible. Blackhawks definitely a strong team. They've been playing well. It's just Vipers have adapted to them well in these last couple of games. I don't know. It looks like we had a accidental join up there briefly, but I guess Blackhawks are ready to go now. So I think we're ready to go. It's got both teams kind of joining in and joining out.
All right, well, I guess the Blackhawks, they don't care about their timeout. They're just going to join anyways. So they called the timeout, and they just join anyways. So I don't know what to say. I mean, they still had time on the clock, Jeff. They had at least 20 seconds remaining, but they said, screw this. We don't need the timeout after all. They're ready to play, and now they have to try to win 3 games in a row to see if they can advance on to the semifinals.
Yeah, so I think what they just did, they were like, Alpha, no game crash. Guys, put ball in back of net. Let's go. Good. No Viper score. And then they're like, timeout's over. All right, we're good. Let's go get into the game.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. Maybe you don't need the full minute that you get in between. You get the 60 seconds at the end of the game, and you get an extra minute if you need. And I don't think the Blackhawks needed it. They were ready to go, and hopefully for their sake and for our sake, for the content's sake, they'll be ready to go here as they're trying to score first. This ball off the backboard. Lore cannot connect. Eternal's trying to race in, and so is Alpha as they block it off to the corner. And the Blackhawks looking to start out the pressure early. But Jeff, this is one of those games where the Blackhawks, they got to score quickly. It's been too long since they scored, and they need to see that ball go in the back of the net.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, if you're talking statistically from how this matchup has gone, the only game that they won was the one that they scored on first. So, like, they need to get that momentum early on, because I feel like if they're trying to fight an uphill battle with Vipers, they just have not been able to do it. And so it's exactly what you just said. They need to score first, and they need to try to get that lead out early to force, Vipers into that. Oh, and right here is the time to do it with a triple commit. But Dissensions ends up coming in clutch for his team, kind of rushing back off of some awkward positioning from the Vipers. Surprised to see that out of them.
Yeah, they are getting a little bit caught out right now as the Blackhawks have been putting on some great pressure, but it's not going to amount to anything besides 3 shots on net and 3 saves for the Vipers. Their defense holds on strong. Puggles taking it back to their corner. Eternal looking to pop this one up. It's dangling in the midfield, but Dissensions, a nice touch from him. The mechanics showing out again from the Vipers as this ball shot towards the net. Puggles with a great touch, able to clear it away as Lore trying to find that one. But the Blackhawks maybe a little bit faked out. This one popped up. Alpha and Dissensions both going for it. Eternal taking this one high up off the backboard, looking for the double tap, but Puggles on the backboard has been magnificent so far. He saves that one away. And still, this one yet to go in the back of the net as we approach nearly 13 minutes of game time. Well, the Blackhawks finding one through, and they're still holding on here, Jeff. They haven't really been threatened. Only 1 shot from the Vipers, but you really want to see one go through for their sake. And here's a shot by Lore with a huge save. The follow-up from Alpha is going to be saved away again. The Vipers, a defensive masterclass right now.
Honestly, like, Blackhawks have been doing everything that they possibly can. Out of the gate, they were already on Viper's side of the field. They've had passing plays. They've had numerous shots. And finally, Eternal's going to break through the brick wall that has been the Vipers' defense.
And finally, it's been too long for the Blackhawks, but they put it in. A huge demo comes out. Eternal dribbles it all the way in, and the Blackhawks maybe starting to feel a little bit of life here, and maybe this is the start to something. It's not really a reverse sweep, but it almost feels like that after the Vipers have won the last 3 games. And, I mean, Jeff, they needed that one badly, and it's good for them to see it go in the back of the net.
100%, definitely. It is exactly like you said, how it just feels like a reverse sweep, because just Blackhawks have not been able to get anything going as much as they've tried and as much heart as they have put in to all the pressure that they've been given. It's good to see them finally have that shot on the net. I'm sure it's good for their morale. So perhaps, Rockerman, the timeout was what they needed to kind of get things back on track, but I wouldn't count Vipers out. They haven't had much of an offensive presence in this game, but I know that they can turn it around pretty quickly if need be. But that right there, I thought I saw a bump over in the corner, and I'm not quite sure if that's what was happening.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a team bump there, and yeah, I'm not sure if on the back end there was a bump that comes through, but regardless, the third defender out of net, and Eternal putting on some good shots for his team in this game as he slots in his second, really stepping up. We needed someone to step up for the Blackhawks, and they've done just that. And now with a minute 15 remaining, the Blackhawks poised to take this game 5 and send us into a game number 6, but they have to hold on here. Still a minute remaining in this one, and a lot of time for the Vipers to do something.
Yeah, definitely. They've still got some time, but honestly, the brief shot attempts that they had there earlier looking a little sloppy. I guess they're going for the physicality play. Lore trying to get one up, almost in, but what a save from Alpha. Just absolutely pinched that one off of the goalpost, off of the crossbar to get that one out. That's a really good look from the Blackhawks.
And it really was there as just an epic save on the goal line. And these two teams have been firing insane shots in this one, but 30 seconds remain in game number 5. Another shot saved by Senatario. The Blackhawks holding on. The Vipers looking to give a last-ditch effort in this one as Eternal is going to pick up a savior medal as they clear it away. And the Blackhawks looking to hold on and force a game 6. The Vipers trying to find 2 quickly here. This ball in midfield. They get one. Buggles puts it in. And 11 seconds. That is more than enough time to tie this one up.
11 seconds. It's not a whole lot, but it is definitely enough to tie it up. In game number 1, Blackhawks scored that 2-second kickoff goal. They need one of those. They need a strong kickoff here. Bounce it off the side and kind of catch Blackhawks off guard. They get the bounce. Is it going to go in? No, Dissensions can't quite get the angle. I was hoping I was going to call it there, Rockerman. Everything was there, but this might just get dropped in the corner. Maybe. I don't know. Still playing out.
All still up here. Eternal's going to send it down. The Blackhawks hold on there. They made it a little bit closer than it had to be, Jeff, but we are heading to Forbidden Temple for a game number 6. And a crucial game here for the Blackhawks as they try to force a game number 7. And looks like the Vipers saying they're ready to go, so they're not even going to think about their tactical timeout. They're just ready to go on this one. And it's a crucial one, Jeff. If the Blackhawks win here, they can battle back, force a Game 7, which could be our first Game 7 of the playoffs. Or if the Vipers can hold on here and win this one, they'll be moving on to the next round. So just a huge game on a great map here in Forbidden Temple.
Yeah, definitely. And Vipers, they were coming back strong. Towards the end there, they almost had it line up with that kickoff. I was really hoping to see it because it would have been cool to see an overtime battle for that. But nonetheless, Blackhawks, they're not out of it yet. They still got a lot of fight in them. And Vipers, they still got a lot in the tank too. So both teams looking strong going into this game 6. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Blackhawks have a little bit of momentum after that last win. But what will we see in game number 6 on Forbidden Temple? Will the Vipers close it off here? Or do the Blackhawks, are they going to be able to extend it? Oh my goodness, a touch off the backboard. Lore is going to follow it up and in. The Vipers strike first in game 6.
What a first redirect right there from Lore. And then Dissensions coming up off the back wall. Lore's right there. No one from the Blackhawks was even close to get a touch like that. So honestly, loving to see that out of Vipers, and that's not looking good for Blackhawks. I mean, I know they've only had, 2 games that they've won, and it just happens to line up where if they don't score first, then they lose out the game. But I don't know. It's something to think about. It might be something that Blackhawks need to be a little concerned with. But, I mean, still, plenty of time to tie things back up. But strong showing from Vipers, and even here, goal number 2, past the Dissensions.
A huge play. The Vipers, a second goal to go in this game 6. Lore and Dissension just putting on a show here as Dissension slotting it just behind the defender there. And the Vipers, they couldn't have asked for a better start here, Jeff, than this one. A 2-0 lead. And the Blackhawks now find themselves on the back foot here as they have to try to regain with at least 2 goals. And this one dangerous in the middle. But still a lot of time in this game 6.
Yeah, 2 goals scored within the first minute. But, yeah, like you said, still plenty of time. Blackhawks just kind of need to recuperate. But, I mean, still, even after the game that they won with the tactical timeout, I mean, you still got to be thinking of nerves, right? This is still do or die. You had a strong game prior with Vipers, but that doesn't mean you're out of the fire. This team is still in the fire, and I think that those nerves kind of wearing on them a little bit. Now they've got 2 goals to try to overcome. Like we've mentioned before, still plenty of time, but 2 goals is never a number that you want to be trying to get back to. It's much more comfortable when it's a 1-goal lead. But hey, Viper's going to extend it to 3.
And 3 it is here as Lore is going to put another one in. Puggle's just banging off the backboard, and Eternal, he's just caught out on the inside post. Not sure what happened to him, but the Vipers just going in this one, and they want to secure this one, Jeff. A minute and a half in, and they have 3 goals. They are looking to close the deal on this one and send them to the semifinals.
Hey, look, I feel like Vipers are here to show that, they're trying to prove chat wrong in the Twitch, right? They had everybody against them. Like you said, there was a huge pool of points up against Vipers that says they were going to lose. And Vipers have been showing that, hey, we can play against Blackhawks. We had a little bit of a rough start, but we've been running with the games. And even now, on match point, they've got a 3-goal lead, a strong defense coming in, and just looking like they can dominate. But here, I guess a little bit of a slip, and Alpha gives a brief ray of hope for Blackhawks.
Yeah, the Blackhawks, they're not out of it. They know that there is a lot of time left in this game. Alpha just faking it out, playing it low, hoping the miss comes through, and it does. And now 2:53, Jeff, that is an eternity in Game 6. I mean, there is so much that could happen here, and the Blackhawks finally able to get on the board.
Yeah, indeed. And Eternal with a good look to the backboard. Does he have the double? Oh, but not quite on target. But good looks from Blackhawks, getting some pressure. Showing some good ball control. Unfortunately, they weren't allowed to get anything, but hey, Dissension's returning the favor after a little bit of a blunder on the defensive side.
Yeah, Laura just sends this one down, and Puggle's a little bit of a fake. It almost works to perfection. I think he was looking for the pop, but it works out regardless as Dissension puts it home, and last defender just caught in an awkward spot, but the Vipers right back in, and that one got a hurt there for the Blackhawks as right when they got one, Jeff, the Vipers just an immediate answer.
Indeed, and that is a huge blow to a morale of a team. When you start feeling like, hey, okay, now we've got one goal less that we got to get. We got some momentum going, and then just to immediately just get turned around and scored on in a very short amount of time, it does not bode well for the mentality of the team that you're facing. And so, but they still got time. 2 minutes. And they're definitely not out of this, but a lot of blunders. I'm seeing a lot of blunders on Blackhawks. Their touches that they were kind of more solid on before, not quite there, but I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. As a shot coming out, Eternal was a little bit wide on the follow there, as that shot almost went through. Now Puggle's looking for a bump to Blackhawks. They are going to need a miracle here in Game 6. They find themselves down by 3 with a minute and a half remaining. Eternal going to find a touch. They are getting suffocated right now. Puggle's off the backboard. Here comes Dissensions for the shot, but he's bumped off of it. And now the Blackhawks got to try to get in the transition, but a huge demo comes through. Dissensions taking him out as they're just wasting the time. Lore just not even shy about. He's saying, I'm wasting the time away. We know that we just got to hold on and play the time game, and we'll be advancing on in the playoffs. The Blackhawks in real desperation mode at this point. They're going to have to find 3. Alpha into the corner. This ball's popped up, but Lore is going to find a huge clear as we're under 60 seconds remaining. A counterattack is coming through. The Blackhawks panicking on the goal line. They're trying to clear it away. And the time, Jeff, it is just looking like it might be too much to climb here for them.
Yeah, 45 seconds, and Vipers have clearly stated to Blackhawks, hey, we don't even care to score anymore. We are just trying to run the time off of the clock. We know that is your enemy right now. It's not us on the field. It is old father time trying to just let you know that you don't have much time left to try to score 3 goals. At this point, they need a goal every 10 seconds. Good shot there from Sanatoria, but Vipers not letting up. And honestly, it's looking like it's Vipers' game to win right now.
Yeah, the seconds are ticking away. The Blackhawks would need an all-time Nemesis miracle to make it happen, as the Vipers trying to put the dagger on, but it's not going to go. And 10 seconds remaining. The Vipers coming out here with a strong performance in the first match of the playoffs. They are going to win, and they are going to advance here. A 4-2 victory for the Vipers. They are heading to the second round of the playoffs.
Hey, so Rockerman, not exactly Game 7. But I was on Viper's side of the field the whole time, and I saw it. I mean, well, should I say, I didn't see it first game, but going on, just solid gameplay. But honestly, out of both of these teams, you can't, like, rag on Blackhawks too much, because they played a solid game. They had some blunders there, that sort of cost them that one. But in prior matches, I mean, they were still playing strong. It's just that Vipers really just turned it up and were having a really solid defensive game. It was really a war of defenses is what really determined who won this matchup tonight.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the Vipers' defense was just insane. I mean, think about that. I heard from Krippus, it was almost 15 minutes of game time where the Blackhawks didn't score a single goal. So, I mean, you got to give credit to the Vipers. They were the underdogs in this one, seed-wise, prediction-wise, chat-wise. Everything was against them. But Puggles and the boys just stepped up. I mean, just a an insane mechanical showing from all of them, and I mean it's impressive. It's impressive, Jeff. Is they're going to advance to the second round, and if we could, maybe we can look quickly at that bracket here as the Vipers. I mean, they're going to advance. They beat the Blackhawks there, and now they're going to be looking, Jeff, at a battle between the Bandits and the Minotaurs. I know you were in that sloth org for a while, so you got Bandits and Minotaurs. So the Vipers will be awaiting the winner of that match.
Indeed, and no bias here, but I know that the sloth teams do come out swinging. So if you know with bandits and minotaurs, it's I don't know, it's one of those things to they got to look out for. At least I would be worried going into that matchup. But hey, they had a strong showing tonight, so I can't. I think if you're Vipers, you're feeling really good. And you're just like, let's just ride this train and continue the momentum going forward. But yeah, they've got everything going for them right now.
Yeah, they really do. Congratulations to the Vipers for moving on, and just a huge win for them as they punch their ticket into the semifinals of the Prospect League playoffs. And we're not done for the night. We've got another match coming up here. We have Gladiators taking on Warhawks coming up next, the 4 versus 5. It should be another good one. Quick couple of shout outs before we head to a short break. Shout out to Merely Mental, our good old commentating lead for 25 months, coming back over 2 years, resubbing to the channel. Much love to Merely. Also, shout out to Rob Espo, King Muff himself, for 14 months, over a year from him. So thank you guys for the support there. One final shout out to, make sure you guys go check out our socials in the chat. And also, if you guys are interested, go check out the Nemesis merch. A lot of cool stuff at the store. Links in the chat, merch.nemesisleague.com. A lot of cool stuff for you guys there. Go check it out. Go support Nemesis. Get your cool Nemesis stuff there. It's got a lot of cool stuff on there. So but that is going to wrap it up here for our first matchup. Congratulations to the Vipers. They take home the victory. Up next, we are heading to the Prospect League. Well, we're staying in the Prospect League, I guess. Gladiators versus Warhawks. Magic Pepperoni and Cookin' Bagels will be in the booth here for that one. We'll be back in a couple minutes. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll see you guys in a few.